Well, hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sparkleberry. So I have a very juicy video for you today. It is sad, it is interesting, it's a lot of things all in one, right? So TikTok, there was a video on TikTok, and I am going to insert the video for you guys to watch before we dive in. I truly want to dissect this situation and just understand exactly what people would do. It almost sounds like a no-brainer as far as, you know, getting a quote-unquote like a survey from people in regards to what they do if they found themselves in this type of situation. But I want to put a little twist on it, right? So I'm going to pause so that we can actually watch this video. Ooh. Sorry. I'm going to pause the video so that we can watch it from scratch, okay? Here you go.
This is kind of hard for me to say, but, you know, I've been dating him since 2015. I met him when he was 21. And we had our first kid like a year after 2016. And we had another kid in 2017.
Wait for it.
And I just recently found out that this was my son that I gave up for adoption.
All right. So as you guys all heard, here's a couple, an older lady and a much younger guy, that are a family. They didn't really specify whether or not they were married, but they are indeed a family. So they actually met in 2015. A year later, which was 2016, they had their first child. And then they had their second child in 2017. And years later, I guess, she finds out that this is the son that she gave up for adoption several years ago. Now, as I stated in the beginning of the video, it is very easy to see how folks could say this is a no-brainer, right? Obviously, it's your son, it's incest, cut it off, you know, just cut ties, if you would, right? Get therapy, get some help. It's a lot of emotional trauma that I think they're both are going through or going to endure over the next few, I guess, years until they're fully healed, right? If they will ever get fully healed, because this is one of those things where it's not like they don't have a child. They have two human beings. That is going to be a constant reminder of the mistake that they made or she made. I don't know, they, she, who is going to be blamed for this? Should anyone be blamed? That's neither here nor there, right? But I can understand that, right? That's societal norms from either a religious standpoint or from what is considered societal norms. You're not supposed to sleep with your children or your close siblings, right? That's incest. I get that. But let me play devil's advocate here. What if we look at this from a different lens, right? I'm not saying that it's okay to sleep with your children knowingly or unknowingly, or if it's okay to just, you know, perform incest, what have you. But there are cultures and there are places where this is practiced, right? Maybe not with your children, but these things happen. It happens. So what if they had, or they lived in a society like that and this happened? This would have probably be considered as normal, right? But in this situation, she did not know. This was wrong all around. She obviously did not know. But I think for me, the very first thing that she did that was a mistake was putting it out on social media, right? The internet, once something goes on there, it stays on forever. It's like the public records just stays on there. So not everything should make its way to social media. But that being said, my approach would be to obviously stop sleeping with my child, right? I have to pause because I'm getting a call. All right, so yeah, my approach obviously would be to cut off this sexual relationship, right? Obviously the damage has been done. You have two beautiful children. It obviously does not look like these children have any type of birth defects. That's an assumption. She didn't state that in this video. And then not to say that just because you have a baby with a close relative or a child necessarily means that you're going to have a child with birth defects, right? There are several reasons why folks have kids with birth defects, but assuming that the children don't have any, right, and they're healthy, everything is fine. I don't know the type of blood work that needs to have gone in or taken place. That needed to have taken place in order for them to at least have found this out a lot sooner, right? I'm sure there was some type of blood work that was done. But then thinking about it, I think the blood work is usually just done on the mom and not the mom and the dad. That's an assumption too. Guys, don't quote me on it. But the point is, you know, regardless of what could have happened, what should have happened, this is what the situation is. Now, I will break up with my son, my lover, the father of my kids, because apparently she had other kids. And now you have two kids with the person that's supposed to be your son. I would break up with him. No longer going to be sexually intimate with him. And be co-parents, right? Now, whether or not you want to live under the same roof, that's up to them. I wouldn't recommend it because the likelihood of you going back to possibly having some type of intimacy with your child or with this other person is very high if you're under the same roof, right? Because this is somebody that you've been intimate with for, what was it, 8 years now? So the likelihood of you guys being intimate because you live under the same roof is very, very high. So move out of the house. That's number one. And then stop being intimate with this person, but then keep the lines of communication open, right? Because at this point, you are trying to now build the relationship that you did not have with the son that you gave up for adoption. Regardless of whatever your intentions were or whatever the circumstances were that led you to give your child up for adoption, that's neither here nor there. I'm not here to judge. So that's neither here nor there, right? And then forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself for what's happening, for not knowing, for causing this type of emotional trauma to yourself as well as to your son and to family and to the kids and to your kids, to everyone that's involved that would be impacted by this type of situation, right? Forgive yourself and know that things happen. Unfortunately, this happened to you, but you can move past it, all right? After that, seek counseling. Whether it be individual counseling or, you know, counseling both of you at the same time. I'm not a counselor. I don't speak as one. So I'm not sure which route they would find or deem, you know, most effective. But do seek counseling and be patient with yourself. This is something that has been building up or has built up over the last 8 years. Now, nobody knows whether it's going to take another 8 years to undo what has been done or much longer. But give yourself time. Be patient with yourself as you're going through this healing process, right? Obviously, at some point in time, you would have to have that very, very difficult conversation with the kids that you and him, you know, brought into this world. That would be a very, very tough conversation to have, but it needs to be had. They need to know the family dynamics, right? That this is your brother and your dad. However that conversation is going to go, that conversation needs to be had. So, you know, obviously in the future, look to have this conversation with your kids. And moving forward, if and when you choose to date, make sure that you are in a good enough place where you're not carrying any type of leftover trauma into the new relationship. But moving forward, obviously, we're going to do better. Does that mean that we're going to ask for blood tests every time that we start dating? you know, whatever you feel is best for you, but at least try to do your due diligence, right? You know, ask about whomever you're talking to. Do they have kids? Do they have family? Get to know him, the family, his friends, before you get to the point where you're sexual or intimate with this person. Folks, I would really love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are. What would you do in this lady's situation? This is from a woman's perspective because she was the one that put this out on social media, right? So what would you do if this was you, right? And to my guy followers, what would you do? Would you stop this relationship? Would you stop this? I don't know what they want to call it, because once again, we don't know whether they were married. But would you stop this, or would you just, you know, it is what it is, and just keep on with it and make the best out of life? Because this is what life is for you right now. I'd be really, really happy to hear your thoughts are. Thank you so very much for staying with me till the end of this video. I will see you in my next vlog or video. Bye-bye. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Thank you so very much for being able to stay with me till the end of this video. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.